Ambassador, Excellency, I want to ask you, when you say that Iran for the first time decided and, in a way, direct attack over Israel, do you suspect there are other countries behind Iran which finally supported, maybe Iran spoke to some of their allies, maybe China or somebody, any other country you suspect, that they could finally decide, yes, or Russia, that they could, finally decide and collect the guts to attack Israel?
I haven't seen one country that has been supporting this genocidal agenda of Iran, either directly or indirectly. I haven't seen that.
No, but there's been a recent statement from Erdogan, the Turkish head of state, and he's calling your action as genocide. Very strong words.
Well, words are cheap. He is using terms that are not compatible with reality, because Israel never committed a thing like that. When the Gaza Strip came to Israel's control in 1967, do you know how many Palestinians were there? Less than 200,000. Do you know how many Palestinians are there now? More than 2 million. What kind of genocide is that? I think
यहाँ मैं दर्शकों को बताना चाहूँगा, अर्दोआन जो तुर्की के राष्ट्राध्यक्ष हैं, उन्होंने जो इजराइल कदम उठा रहा है उसको नरसंहार की संज्ञा दी है। यहाँ पर राजदूत ये कह रहे हैं कि वर्ड्स आर चीप, कि शब्द तो कोई भी इस्तेमाल कर ले, लेकिन अगर हम पृष्ठभूमि देखें 1967 से जो चलता आ रहा है, तो बात एक होलिस्टिक वे में पूरा खाका समझने की जरूरत है। बट having said that, Ambassador, the biggest arbiter of peace on the international platform is the UN, the United Nations. And the United Nations Secretary General has just been declared a persona non grata by your foreign minister, that he is a stain on the UN. You're not willing to accept even the UN. They're telling you to go slow and make efforts towards peace. But there seems to be a certain sense of warmongering in your statements.
Well, when you have a situation in which a fanatical, genocidal, radical, theocratic Islamic state is trying to destroy the state of Israel and firing an unprecedented historical barrage of missiles that was never fired against any country in the history of the world, the UN Secretary General is not even condemning it. Can you imagine that? It's absolutely unacceptable. You have a situation in the UN in which the system is rigged. There is a majority of countries, many countries, dictatorships, that are grouping to extort other countries in order to create cooperation on different issues, and are appointing people that are biased against the state of Israel. And you see it in different agencies. Look at UNRWA. This is an agency that was created in 1948 to perpetuate the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. And this organization is employing terrorists. We saw 3 days ago the main teacher that was in charge of the old education system in Lebanon, 39,000 students. He was the head of the Hamas terrorist organization in Lebanon.
But
he was receiving salary from the UN. I'm asking you, how can the UN, that was built to promote peace in the world, is financing terrorism?
But Ambassador Azhar, just a second, Vishal. Ambassador Azhar, is it a case of only giving one side of the story? Isn't it a fact, a lot of people raise this issue, when you're bombing Hamas, you call it a terrorist organization. India hasn't yet declared it as a terrorist organization. Is that a concern for you, one? And second, when you're targeting the so-called terrorist organization, there are innocent lives which are also being taken. Kids are getting killed and women are getting killed. Isn't that also a fact?
Well, this is a very tragic fact, and Israel actually has performed in an outstanding manner in order to keep people out of harm's way, in order to warn people to leave. You can see now in the Dahya in Beirut how people are being warned to leave the buildings that are being used to store weapons. People leave the buildings, and then only then Israel fires at the buildings, including, as we know, that there are terrorists there that are getting away and they are escaping, but we are sparing human life. The same goes in the Gaza Strip. Hamas has abused every rule in the book. They've been using ambulances to transfer terrorists. They've been using hospitals in order to harbor operatives. They have been using schools to harbor terrorists. And Israel has to do its job. At the end of the day, according to international law, if you use a sanctuary for military purposes, that sanctuary is lost. And therefore, a lot of human life has been lost. This is very tragic.
The government of India
this is very tragic.
Declare Hamas a terrorist
of
organization.
Of course. I think that Hamas is a terrorist organization, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps are a terrorist organization, and more and more countries are recognizing that. And more countries have to recognize that, because if we don't fight terrorism together, terrorism will defeat us separately.
Mr. Ambassador, how do you see the role of India in the West Asia to restore the peace, as India always pursue for the diplomacy and dialogue? So how do you see the role of India?
Well, India has an amazing role because India is a rising power. India has experience in dealing with terrorism. It is using hard power, it is using soft power. We have a very good dialogue with India. We think together how to tackle these challenges. And we are welcoming the Indian role in the economy of the region. There are initiatives that are coming from India to create this corridor of stability in our region. We are cooperating with our neighbors. We did it through the Abraham Accords. We did it now with the military cooperation we are having in order to confront the Iran axis of evil. And once we restore peace in our region, we will re-engage with our Indian friends in order to create that prosperity, because the people of the Middle East deserve better. They have been subject for too long with dictatorships, with tyrants, with radical elements that are destroying hope, that are destroying the horizon for the people of the region. And we are looking forward to engage with India in repairing this situation.
Excellency, ये मैं समझा दूं कि विशाल आपके जवाब में एम्बेसडर कह रहे थे कि जब वो इस मसले को रीजनल इस मसले को सुलझा लेंगे उसके बाद भारत के साथ काम करना इजराइल प्रेफर करेगा, यानी इमीडिएटली भारत का कोई भूमिका मुझे लगता है कि अभी फिलहाल नहीं देख रहे हैं. एक्सेलेंसी, आई हैव टू क्वेश्चंस टू आस्क टू यू. So now that Iran has attacked, is there any way that Israel can come to the table of negotiations? Is there any way of finding peace, or first you will retaliate, you will avenge this, and then anything can happen? Secondly, sir, this sheet of paper must have come to your notice that this is the Ministry of Intelligence of Iran, which says that they will go ahead and execute even your Prime Minister and all the top officials. If this is the paper we have shown, this is Ministry of Intelligence of Iran, which kind of openly threatens you yet. So how are you going to deal with it, sir?
Well, your first question had to deal with, your first question was about?
Sir, I said, when are you, or if at all, Israel is going to come to the negotiations table?
Israel has utilized every opportunity that it was given to bring peace. We did peace with Egypt more than 40 years ago. We did peace with Jordan. We did peace with the UAE, with Bahrain, with Sudan, with Morocco, because the Israeli people are a peace-loving nation. We have a challenge, because these people, these radicals, they don't want to negotiate. They just want to negotiate our demise. They want to see us dead. They want Israel, as the leader of Iran has said, that Israel is a rotten society, that he wants to destroy Israel. How can you negotiate with people like that?
So there's no way of negotiations?
Well, we trust that the Iranian people are much smarter than this fanatical leadership that has taken them hostage. We trust that one day will come when the Iranian people will rise and will choose to make peace with Israel.
So, विशाल, बस मैं एक सेकंड बता दूं, ये बड़ी बात है कि इजराइल के एम्बेसडर कह रहे हैं कि नेगोशिएशंस की अब कोई गुंजाइश नहीं है, ऐसे वक्त पर जबकि ईरान कह रहा है कि वो पूरी तरह से इजराइल को खत्म कर देना चाहता है. ईरान के साथ फिलहाल मध्यस्थता का कोई स्कोप नहीं है. विशाल,
और शांति के लिए बहुत कुछ प्रयास किए, ये भी यहाँ पर
एक और चीज, कट्टरपंथी लोग हैं ये, दे आर रेडिकल फंडामेंटल फोर्सेस आउट टू डिस्ट्रॉय इजराइल, इज व्हाट एम्बेसडर यू सेड, बट देयर इज अनदर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू.
You had the second question.
Yeah.
The second question was regarding
regarding the threat to decimate.
We have been
wipe out your top leadership.
We have been not only threatened by Iran. Iran has been investing billions and billions of dollars in killing Israelis. Do you think we are afraid by one statement of these people? These people that have proven that are completely inefficient, these people that have completely failed the Iranian state system, these people that are oppressing their own people, these people that are not even capable of supporting their proxies, and now are trying to celebrate all kinds of barrage of missiles that is completely ineffective. This is not worth.
So what
even
Ambassador Azhar is saying कि जो ये ईरान की धमकी है कि प्रधानमंत्री नेतन्याहू को साफ कर देंगे, उनको ख़त्म कर देंगे, टॉप लीडरशिप जो उनकी फोर्सेस की है उनको नेस्तनाबूद कर देंगे, कि ये गीदड़ भभकी है. पर Ambassador Azhar, there is another point of view. When you call the leadership of Iran fundamentalistic or radical, a lot of people are also of the opinion that this escalation of tension has a lot to do with the domestic politics of Israel. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu ratings were plummeting and he needed something. That robust nationalism came to his rescue.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. Maybe you don't know that. In Israel, we have conscription. That means that the people of Israel, people like me, people like my kids, people like my colleagues, they serve in the army. Do you think that the soldiers or the generals of the army will be subject to any kind of personal political agenda? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is not how the Israeli system works and how the Israeli cabinet makes decisions. And therefore, this is completely baseless. Now, on the other hand, I'm not just accusing the Iranian regime. They are the ones that are killing women for not wearing scarves. Is this an Israeli invention? No, it's their invention. These are people that, in order to impose their way of thinking, are willing to kill. But I want to be positive. I want to be optimistic. And I'll tell you why. Because all these tyrannies we've seen in history, that as much as they may seem powerful, they have a very, very thin layer. And in the moment that the people will realize that and will rise against oppression, they will be able to bring them down. And therefore, I am optimistic that if Israel manages to neutralize all these threats and show that this kind of aggression does not pay, then people will join us. Then the people of the region will join us. Then they will believe that we have hope for our region.
थैंक यू सो मच एम्बेसडर सर ज्वाइनिंग विद अस. तो ये थे इजराइल के राजदूत जो कि एबीपी न्यूज के स्टूडियो में आए थे और यहां पर पूरा अपना एक विजन रखा कि आखिरकार इजराइल अब क्या करने वाला है और इजराइल साफ तौर से बदला लेगा, यह कहना है इजराइल के राजदूत का.
एबीपी न्यूज आपको रखे आगे.